Hi folks, Tom Mason with West USA Realty. In my last video, I promised to give you more information about the housing market in Glendale and Peoria, Arizona. So if you aren't a nerd, go grab one. They can translate. So for this deeper dive, we're going to look at market statistics for August 2024, and we're actually going to look back the last 2 years to find out what is going on in the market. And if you look at the chart, if you just take a general view of it, you can see the price per square foot is pretty solid, pretty comparable from 2 years ago. You know, we have some cyclicality that occurs in December when people don't want to sell during Christmas. But for the rest of the year, we do see a lot of sales going on. Back in August of 2022, this was the end of the good rates. The rates had been going up and they dropped down into the fives and people jumped on it. And so we saw a lot of listings and a lot of sales during that period. And you can see where the median price and the average price were just about where they end up today. We do see a little bump up in November and October of 2023 as well. So looking at this chart, we can see how average price per square foot changes, median price per square foot. Now you have to remember also that during the summer, a lot of the $1 million plus properties come off the market, a lot of the richer people during summer, because they don't want to move during summer. They're just done. They'll try to sell it throughout the spring selling season. Unless they really have to sell, they're not going to keep it on the market in the summertime. If you look at interest rates today at 6.15%, you know that historically over the last 40 years, interest rates have been 6.67%. So we're actually below the historic norm. But in our mind, we remember those 3% rates. And those 3% rates allowed prices to explode. So now when prices go up and the interest rate goes up, we have an affordability problem. So what's going on in Glendale? Let's take a look at this. So looking at Glendale, we can see back a couple years. I'm sorry if this looks a little fuzzy. That's the way the report comes up on the computer because it's basically an expanded PDF. But new listings are up to 267. Active listings are down though, which that shows us that people are re-entering the market. It's up by 8%. But if you look back last year, even if you look back 3 months ago, they're still down. Active listings, they've dropped as well. Like I said, they're either selling their home, some of them are pulling out of the market, and others are just leaving it in there to see what's going to happen. Under contract, we see out of these active listings, 236. And under contract has gone up. With the lowering of the interest rate over the last few months, we've seen a few more buyers come in, people who can afford to get in there and finally purchase that home. But even so, sold listings are still down from a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, and a year ago. Overall, buyers are not coming back in droves, but we do have some that are buying these active listings. Again, active days on market at 55. And we can see on this chart that most of these are just going to be resale homes. It's a normal sale. We have some new builds in there, but a small sliver. We see some flips. We have some investors out there who will find dilapidated properties, flip them, and then try to make some money on that. Next, let's look at the last 24 months. Again, we looked at this chart generally, like I said. But one thing I want you to notice is the average sale price. Look at the average sale price. It's almost way back when we had lower rates. We see a slight uptick in new listings, but not a gigantic one. You know, this is our selling season right here. This is when a lot of people market their properties, because they know that if there's families involved buying homes, they don't want to do it during the school year, so they'll do it during spring and sometimes summer. Average price per square foot up. Median price per square foot up from a couple months ago, but not quite as high as it was way back in August of 2022. You may be asking why prices are going up if there's so few buyers. Well, sellers see the interest rates coming down. People have it in their mind that they bought a house for a certain amount, they expect a certain return, and sometimes sellers sort of overestimate what their home is worth. If you price it right, you can sell a home fairly quickly. Just a few months ago, I sold a home in 5 days because we priced it right. Everybody around us was asking for 2021 prices. And I looked at what was going on in the market. I sat down with my clients. I said, look, this is what the market is. This is what is going to attract more people to your home, pricing it correctly. And we were able to get them the return after everything was done, paid off, their mortgages paid off after the sale. They got that chunk of money that they had intended from the very beginning. So right pricing is important particularly in this market. So this is our new listings, people coming into the market right now, And with the change in interest rates, they're asking for a little bit more money. If we go back and look at the active listings and the price per square foot, we see this big dip in active listings. When people start pulling off the market, we see just a slight decrease here in August. We still see prices going up though for the average price per square foot, although median price per square foot has gone down. And the difference between the average is you take all the properties and you add them all up and you divide by the number of properties, you get an average. Median, you stack them all up, you find the one in the middle priced home. So some of this can be influenced by the top dollar properties coming off of the market and lowering this price on this end of the scale, whereas some of those homes may still have been in the market back here. Why is it important to know that? It's important to know that because you see the trend line for median price heading downward just a little bit because sellers have been sitting on the market for so long that they're lowering prices. And they're giving concessions, which is another thing that can help you buy a home. If you need help with down payment or you need help with some of the closing costs, when you write that offer with your agent, you tell them, okay, we're going to make a full price offer, but we want X% back as concessions to help us close on the property. And 54% of the homes in August were offering those kind of concessions, and that average concession was over $9,000. That means the sellers are helping you buy their home. So now we're getting into the under contract and sold for Glendale, Arizona, and we can see an uptick again on average price per square foot and for median price per square foot. Again, as interest rates have dropped over the last few months, people have, stuck with their prices, or they're ready to make concessions, so they keep that price high so that they can get what they want out of the home. So you'll see a difference between under contract listings, which means this is what it's in the MLS, it's under contract at a certain price, and what it actually sold as. Because at the end, those offers might have been lower than the actual listing price, and so the sold price ends up being a little lower. And on this chart, you can see that the under contract price is near $265, but here the actual sold price was slightly above $255. So $10 per square foot difference between those two. I drill down really deep, give you information about Glendale, Arizona. We'll take a look at months of supply versus sold to list price by price range, so you can get an idea of what people were getting for a property. In the lower range, 200 to 300K, there's only 1 month of supply. Sold to list price, 102%. People are getting 102% of what they asked for. And as you go up in price, you'll see that this drops from 99 to 98, 98.1, up to $1 million. And then you'll see that at 1 million to 3 million, it's 100%. People get 100%. Why? Because people are paying cash at that level, for the most part. And this was just in August. Now, if we look back just 1 month in July, those people who are getting 102% at the 200 to 300 level were only getting about 98% of their asking price at that point. You'll see that 3 to 5 is also lower, although 5 to 7, this was sort of the meat of the market here. This is where a lot of competition was, so people are getting 99% of what they asked for. And it's 700,000 to 1 million. We're at 98 and then 99 here. So again, we go back to June and we'll see the same thing. This, in the middle of the summer, even at the lowest ranges, people were not getting their selling price, their asking price in summer. In spring, April and May, they were getting quite a bit. If we go all the way over to the other end and we see that in June, the very expensive properties were only getting 89%. Remember that on the upper end, they don't want to sell in the summer. They'll just take it off the market. But if they get an offer, someone got a deal. And then as we get back into spring, you'll see that comes back up. And all the way into February, you'll see it's at 100% again for the upper end of the marketplace. Invite you to freeze the frame right now. Just look at your price range. What months have shown to be the best so far? So let's switch over to Peoria and see what's going on over there. So in Peoria, we have 561 active listings. That's up all the way around from 12 months ago to last month, 11% more than last month. So we see the listings, but do we have the buyers? Well, we have 221 under contract, and we do have 181 sold, but that's 16% lower than last month and 24% lower than 3 months ago. Again, interest rates just killing people. Inflation also compounds that. So this is sort of like a maelstrom of bad things. You have the inflation that's taken away savings. We have interest rates that have been high for a long time. Now we're seeing a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We see the rate of inflation starting to drop. hopefully people can start saving a little money if their wages have gone up to compensate. And charts show that average wages have gone up to compensate for inflation. So hopefully you're able to save some money up and start getting back into the market just as these rates begin to drop. This could be a very productive September-October time frame. This may be the time before the tumult of the election season really kicks in to get into that home. Now, new listings, we see they're up again 11% from last month, but down from 6% from 3 months ago. So this is a mix where we see listings coming back on, not sold yet, but if they've gone under contract in August, they won't show up till September. So in my next video at the end of September, talking about what's happened in the market, you'll see that. Now that's after the fact. You got to know what's going on now. And what we know now is the mortgage interest rate is down. Inflation is not as hot as it used to be. And we have lenders that are looking to lend. They're giving incentives for you to lend. Average days on market shows 59, which is down from last month, up from 3 months ago, and certainly up 22% from 1 year ago. So if you remember looking back at Glendale, for new listings, price per square foot, we were close to $275 for the average and $268 for the median. So Peoria, that means Peoria is just a little bit more expensive, but they do have some newer homes in Peoria as well. Peoria is more expanding to the north toward Lake Pleasant. We have some new plans going in out there. Also to the west, Peoria is expanding. Glendale is a little bit more landlocked, so fewer places. I mean, they have to take down some neighborhoods to put in some brand new neighborhoods in some places. Though in near Westgate and near the Desert Diamond Arena, there is some farmland that is now being bought up and converted in Glendale into housing. We look at the last 24 months for the active price, for active listings price per square foot and the median price. So on average for Glendale, we had 270, where in Peoria we have 285 for the average price. Median price in Peoria is about 278, and it was 260 in Glendale. Under contract listings and price per square foot, that means they're under contract, they haven't finished yet, so whatever they listed is probably going to be close to what the contract price is. For Peoria, again, we see at about 278. This was 265 in Glendale, and we see about 274 for Peoria. This was 258 in Glendale. Finally, we look at sold. I mean, sold is where it really is. Sold is telling you exactly what the market is doing. And we see prices dropping down here in price per square foot over these few months. And we'll get into the different price points here in just a minute. In the 265 for Peoria, 256 for Glendale. And, these two are pretty close. The average price and the median price. We're in about 260 for Peoria and about 254 for Glendale. So not much difference there when it finally comes down to what homes sell for, which is the most important part. So again, now this is months of supply sold to list by price range. Months of supply you'll see over here. That's how long it would take to sell everything that's in this price category. 2 months, 1 month, 1 month. It's the lower price category, half a month. Where we move up into the 700 to 1 million, we're going to see 4, 3, 2.3, 3.5, 5.7, 6. So this has come down even in top of the meat of the market where most sales occur. It's really in this area here. But even at this one, it's just a little bit above it. We saw people not buying. Lots of listings, not many buyers. In the 5 to 700, and also in the 3 to 5s. 3 to 5s are going to go faster than the 5 to 7s. So you can see these numbers, months of supply, just about 2, less than 1.5, 1.5, less than 1.5, all the way down through this. These houses are going to go much more quickly. And 5 to 7, they're going to stay a little bit longer, but not as long as these ones up here. So 3 month supply, again, because we have fewer buyers out there and more listings. The interest rate drop on September 11th, though, could have spurred this market, and so we won't see that till the end of September. But keep that in mind. Keep those things in mind. What's going on in the marketplace as far as interest rates, and that sellers are really looking to sell. So is now the time to get into the market. You have to decide that. I would make a recommendation, that now's the time. But you've got to be ready to do it. Give me a call, leave a comment below, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about places and neighborhoods in Glendale and what the amenities are, and schools, things like that, what the taxes will be. Give you a whole idea of these different parts of either Glendale or Peoria, and get you ready to make that move.